Hey there, welcome to January of 2025, brand new year, same old shop. I figured we'd start the year off with a shop tour. Some of you have been looking forward to this, some of you have asked about it. I have a simple one-car garage, and it's jam-packed full of a lot of stuff. Let's get on with it. Well, as you can see, but you can't feel, it's a beautiful winter day here on Long Island. It's 30 degrees, not a cloud in the sky, nice and sunny. And this is my driveway. Got a little bit of woods next to my house, which is nice. And you can see there's my garage. Recently I picked up a nice little hoard, which I started cutting down a little bit. You'll see how I use this in an upcoming video. There are a lot of nice hardwood pallets here. Let's walk right into the shop. So you can see it's a one-car garage. Not a ton of room, but the garage is about 14 foot by 21 foot. And you can see what I've done. There's some of the projects you probably recognize from my past videos. And as you can see, I like to keep everything on casters. Makes everything nice and mobile, and I can put stuff away. And I probably could fit the car in here, at least one of them, if I really needed to. Don't mind the American flag there right now. Usually it's on the outside of my house, but the winds have been so bad here recently that it broke the bracket that holds it on the house, so it's temporarily there. It's covering up one of my shelves. I figured let's do this little shop tour, and I'll take you piece by piece and show you how I operate. All right, let's start off in the first corner here. It's where I keep my dust collection system and my small air compressor. 50-foot hose reel, so it reaches pretty much anywhere in the garage and also out to the car tires if I need to fill them up. Dustpan, extra extension cord in case I need to power something in the garage. Now this is a Wen dust collector, which I mounted to the wall and connected to a cyclone system that I built. As you can see, goes into this here bucket. And let me open this up and I'll show you how it looks on the inside. Has this nice latch that just undoes itself here. It's on the floor. Now this cyclone system is by PowerTech, and it's a kind of a do-it-yourself thing. Got one of these barrels off of Facebook Marketplace from a guy for like 10 bucks. Yeah, tons of them. So this is how it looks on the inside. You have these dual ports facing in opposite directions. Causes a cyclone to happen. And if you can look down in there, you can see all that debris. I clean this out every once in a while. I mean, it has a pretty large capacity, but I don't like it getting too full, because then it's harder to empty. Put this back on. This. As you can see, my table saw is a Craftsman Pro Series, which I ended up buying off of Facebook Marketplace for like 250 bucks. It was brand new in a box, and it was like 10 years old though. I don't think they've made this for a long time. If you ever seen the rigid version of this, it's a clone of that. They're both made by the same manufacturer and probably just branded differently. I believe it's the rigid 4512. This is the identical table saw with a few differences. But I like to keep this drop cloth on top of my table saw because when my garage door opens, especially after it rains, some water drips and I'll get some spots on top of the cast iron, which causes a little bit of rust, which all of you guys know is a constant battle, especially in a garage workshop with no heat and you know, no climate control whatsoever. So here, let me take this off and I'll show you what I've done. I recently made a folding outfeed table. Those of you know that I had an accident a few years back because I didn't have one, and a piece of wood started falling off the back of the table saw, and I grabbed onto it. So let's see what I did here. I have these two legs, which I made. Two. I guess the next thing I could show you was the obviously the workbench that I have. You guys seen this build video too. I've had a few things since. This vise I did put on during the video. I did put a second vise on in the back here. Just makes it nice having two places where I can clamp things down. I do eventually going to put some dog holes in the top. Haven't gotten around to it yet. But I did add this paper spool, which is really nice for when I want to draw things out. I can just unroll it, put it on top, tape it down, and draw out whatever plans I feel like drawing out. Underneath right now, I haven't done much. I have a bucket full. They're underneath the overhang of my workbench, so I never trip on them. So if you extend that workbench out just far enough, you know they're not going to be a tripping hazard. Let's roll this back into its spot, which is usually right here next to the table saw. And my larger wood storage area, where I keep my ladder, broom, and anything that's long and thin I throw in this box. Here's another one of my builds. You notice that this is all made of pallet wood, which you know I do like so much. It's all I usually use. You can do so much with it. It's crazy. Everyone who comes down on it, I have to tell you, you're nuts for not working with it. Especially if you like that medieval, rustic, country type of a look. You really can do a lot with this wood. Let me show you what's inside. Oh, look at that. Pallet wood, pine, scraps, a scroll saw, which I got for free, which I've never used. Some other backpacks and tool bags, a couple of jigs. Down here, shop vac filter, some dust collection parts, metal pieces, some casters, draw glides, dowels. And then down below, even further, you see I got my tile saw and some other things, some Kaizen foam that was in a box. I forget where I got that from. Something I bought and had it in there. I'm gonna use that eventually. So a lot of things I don't use too much are in here too. But it's an amazing amount of storage. It does take up a bulk of my shop, which sometimes I don't like. I did connect it to the wall, which sometimes seems like wasn't the greatest idea because it's pretty bulky. You see next to that, I have my Craftsman 1 horsepower bandsaw. It's a 12-inch model. Again, a Facebook Marketplace purchase. Got it for like $100. Refurbished it, put a nice blade on it, and good to go. And on the side here, all my other bandsaw blades and some other saw blades just hanging there waiting to be used, waiting to be switched out. Up top, you see my jointer. You guys know how I connect this long piece of aluminum to my table saw using some clamps. And these holes here, clamp it onto the table saw fence in order to extend the fence so I can use it like a jointer, because I don't really have the room for one right now, nor the money for one. And some storage up top, some old table legs, which I'm eventually going to use for something. Some sawhorses. And there's that hammer everyone has seen me build before. I have two of them. Well, one's at a friend's house. It was a gift to him. And along with that Viking shield there. Gave one to him as well. Then we have my wall of clamps. You know what they say about woodworkers, right? You never have enough. I think that's a false statement. I think I have too many. I really feel like I need more. It's a good assortment. There's my Wen oscillating sander, again, on wheels. This makes everything so much easier to bring out and use. You guys have seen this build as well. This is my Anvil. I'm not going to bring that out right now. She's in a good spot right now and packed away nicely. And here's my my planer. It's an old Ryobi, which again, another marketplace find. Person actually gave it to me for I think $50, and again, new blades, stuff like that. Fixed it up, lubed it up a little bit, cleaned it, and it works great. These two metal carts here too that you see, Facebook Marketplace finds. Great for storing miscellaneous items. Got some push sticks, feather boards, miter gauges, more push sticks, tapering jigs, some more blades, and dado set. And mostly what I keep here in the oscillating spindle sander is the pieces for the spindle sander. All the different sizes that come with it. I don't like keeping them on the outside because they have a tendency of falling off. Some magnetic tool holders and hardware holders work out real nice. Always good to have. Always using stuff like that. All right, so I use a DeWalt miter saw, and dust collection on this thing is horrible, which we all know. So I did invest in the Shop Nation dust collection system for the DeWalt table saw. And here's a shout out to some of my favorite people. You know, Lee at Busted Knuckle Woodworks, and Jered at Inland Wood and Resin, and Jonathan over at Cat's Moses. But anyway, I digress. It's cold in this shop. 3D printed materials do not do well in the cold, I have found. Like I said, I had the Shop Nation dust collection system, and you can see that it's no longer there. Part of it's still there. All right, part of it's still there. Here's the hose for it. Here's the rest of it. I had an off-cut blow backwards and just shatter it. I really believe that it was because of the cold weather that the plastic became very brittle. Be careful with that. You don't want that happening and exploding in your face, that's for sure. All right, here we go, moving over to some safety device. Every shop should have a fire extinguisher. regardless of what you're doing, you never know what can happen. Definitely have one of these in your shop. Here's another build. You've seen my two daughters build this for me. It was more of a picture montage, but we had a fun time doing it. My pallet wall, some swords, some other cutting devices, and you know, if anybody gets out of line. Simple Wen drill press. Works perfect for me. I love it. Again, another Wen grinder. Yeah, I do like Wen tools. They are a lot of bang for the buck, that's for sure. Here's a cup my daughters gave me. They have the same sense of humor their old man does, that's for sure. My chest of drawers, I guess you would call it. My mechanics toolbox. Keep a lot of different stuff in here. I don't like hanging things. I like being able to open a drawer and just see everything that's in it. Keep all my drill bits here. Measuring devices on this side. I know it's not perfectly organized, but whose shop really is? If it was, you'd know I staged it. Second drawer, wrenches, pliers, snips, screwdrivers. Third drawer is hammers, chisels, pry bars, mallets, anything that has to do with banging stuff around. Then we start getting into some more miscellaneous stuff. Chisels and things, which I really would like to take out. That I'm probably gonna make a hanger for eventually. But hole saws, little plane, some gloves, dowel jigs. And we start getting really messy into all the things that I don't use too much, except for that that glue gun. That hot glue gun's got to come out. Some extra stuff down here that don't normally use. Soldering irons, some larger tape measures, and caulk guns. And last but not least is my Craig stuff. Some of it anyway. Tire kit, socket set. I don't use it too often, so I keep it down there. Some more safety glasses that aren't being used. Some rasping tools for and the drills and stuff like that. That's pretty cool. I do love this thing. Keeps everything organized. Coming this way, you see the miter saw station, which I still want to skin out in pallet wood the way I did this. Why don't you leave a comment down there? I think I should do that, or should just stain it and leave it as it is. Well, let me tell you a little story about how I built this. If you come over here and you start looking at the tabletop, it's actually an old table. Found it on Facebook Marketplace for nothing, for free. Same as my workbench, same thing, old tabletop. And you see my my rail system. Wonder if anybody can figure out what this is already. Well, you know how your table extends and you can put a leaf into it? Well, it has these little extendable slides that are built into it for that to happen. And they're usually made of wood. And they slide past each other. So I use that as my stop blocks. And what I can do, attach it to the top of the table here. And these just go in. And I'll clamp that down with a clamp, like I did here, to make repeatable cuts. I have two different sizes of blocks. So I have the small one here, which for longer cuts, that's really all I need. But if something needs to be cut shorter, this longer piece here will extend past and can rest right on top of the miter saw without coming out. So I thought that was pretty cool. I think it's a good use and reuse of materials, again, as usual, because that's what I like to do. Reuse, stop stuff going to the landfill. Just miscellaneous nuts, bolts, anchors, all sorts of things. Here's my charging station. I love using the vacant area behind the fence here for all sorts of stuff. Although sometimes it does accumulate a lot of junk while I'm working on something. I really don't need a hanging I don't really need a hanging drill station. I have so many batteries that I always keep a good charged one on top of. I really don't need a hanging charging station. I like being able to just grab my tools like this. I keep a battery on the bottom of them so they all stand up. I don't need anything fancy. Some of my old carpentry and trim work books. As you know, I'm actually a carpenter. I'm getting into woodworking just because of my love of building stuff. My auto vacuum switch. These are some really easy to make shop shelves. They hold a lot of garbage a lot of times. I shouldn't say garbage. They hold a lot of miscellaneous stuff, but these were super easy to make. As you can see, mostly made out of just slats. This way it saved on the amount of wood that was used for each of them. And if you take a look at my lower shelves on the miter station, I did the same thing. It's just pieces of plywood screwed together in an L and then bracketed across. There's my cutoff bins. Some more dust collection. And again, another Wen tool, my mortiser. Haven't used it nearly as much as I thought I would, but I eventually will, I'm sure. Just another shelf here, my Craig jig. Kind of empty at the moment because it's cold here in New York. Like I said earlier, this is where I usually keep all my paints and stains, but it's too cold to keep them in the garage now. A lot of wood storage up top here. You can see there's lots of pallet wood rails that I haven't gotten together to use yet. Most of my slats have been used because I have a project going on in my basement right now, which I'll probably have a video for coming out soon. And we have a few drawers here. Again, a lot of people, I like to keep all my nuts and bolts and miscellaneous stuff in drawers so I can open them up and see exactly what I have. These things I don't like too much. You really can't see things. You got to open up every drawer to figure out what's in it. Things are written so small you can barely read them. I'd rather just open up and take a look at something. I have another drawer here with, again, a whole bunch of fasteners, different screws, all the stuff I like to use. These are all bins at a Harbor Freight hardware caddies that you can buy. I just took them out, threw them in here, and used the hardware caddies for something else. And moving on down, it's all my sanding stuff. All my router bits, some templates. And down here I got some jigsaws, a couple grinders, Dremel tools. All in all, I think I packed a lot into this little shop. And this goes to show you that you can too. Let me close the garage door, show you one other thing. Again, try to waste no space. More lumber storage. And I find that the normal standards and shelf brackets work wonders for storing lumber. You can adjust them to any size that you want. And I use them all around my shop. It's dark right there, but I think you get the idea. Well, that's my shop tour. Hope you enjoyed it. Hope maybe you found a tip or two that you might be able to use in your own shop. Yeah, I don't want you to think that I'm coming down on the 3D printed Shop Nation dust collection system, because it was phenomenal while I was able to use it. I did reach out to Travis and try to explain the situation. thought maybe he need to either change the material he uses in order for something like that not to happen. Because you notice that your tools are made of plastic also, but they don't explode and crack like that, even when you drop them on a cold day. So I reached out only because I thought maybe it would be something he needed to look into for just safety reasons, and he wouldn't want anyone to get hurt using his invention. He hasn't responded. I've reached out twice through his email and also through his store. So Travis, if you're out there, man, not coming down on things. It's a great system. It made dust collection in my shop 10, 15, 20, 30, 40, 50 times better, probably. As I just go through every number that I can think of. I would love to have another one, but maybe out of a different material. Well, that's my shop tour. Hope you kind of liked it. I'd like to give a shout out to everybody who stuck by me through this YouTube journey. It hasn't been easy. It's a lot of work for very little reward. But there have especially been other YouTubers out there who have given me a lot of good advice, who have been in my corner, and I'd like to give a shout out to those people. Jered over at Inland Wood and Resin. Also Lee over at Busted Knuckle Woodworks. You got Joseph at Five Duck Studio. My buddy Les, who is the Rare Craftsman. And countless others. I'm sorry if I missed anybody, but oh, can't forget about John Still. John, I hope you're still working out there. Put a lot of videos out recently. Now you're off a little bit. Hopefully I see you back as well. But again, all my subscribers who are still with me, even though I've taken some time off, I appreciate every one of you. And here's to a happy and healthy new year. Take care. Just remember, YouTube isn't everything. You gotta take time. Play with the dog. Take a break. Make sure the shop dog is having a good time. He's a good boy. Beautiful. Beautiful. Ready? Okay. Good boy.